moment in this meeting. I know that we are always held in the Divine loving arms, and that we do not have this meeting, conduct this meeting, facilitate this meeting, participate in this meeting alone. That we are indeed doing so with the power and presence among us. And so for all of the blessings, those that I'm aware of, those I can't even begin to imagine, I'm grateful. I bless Heather for all her work in the media. I bless everyone here, everyone in the room, everyone who speaks, everyone who listens. And I bless everyone from the community that might not be able to join us today, knowing that there is no space for time in God, and that we are all together in this moment. And so I release this into that law that only ever says yes, and that we enter together says the same. And so it is. So, a couple of weeks ago, we had financial update. And I know that not everybody participated in that, and maybe didn't hear it. So I think that I would like to start there, and then we'll move from it, because it's very instrumental in our conversation.
Is that bothering you? Can you hear that
Today.
noise?
There's still something going on in the background, Heather.
There is. It's,
Betty,
yeah,
could you mute yourself?
sure.
Let's just see. I don't hear it anymore. So I don't know if there's something going on in your computer. Does anybody else hear that? Michelle,
I hear what sounds like the background of the meditation from earlier.
are you still hearing that?
Not currently, but when she said something, I heard it.
Okay, all right, so Betty, if you want to speak, yes, please unmute yourself so that we can hear you, but otherwise maybe stay muted, okay? All right, okay. And there are some other people online too that just aren't in the room because their pictures aren't on. Sure, well, right now, Betty Harris, Casey Calnan, Donna Ruby, and Michelle Nowak, Jamila. There's Jamila waving at the crowd. There you go. And Michelle Nowak, as we've said. So they're there, they're listening. Perhaps eating lunch or something. They don't want all you to see. Maybe they're naked.
I'm eating lunch.
And here's Sandy Ross also. Yay. Okay, awesome. Welcome. So again, we'll just start with that so that everybody can be aware of this financial update that we did last time, a couple of weeks ago. Just a quick financial update. So can you go back to the 2024? So when, at the end, actually in January, I think we had a conversation about it, about the end of the year finances for us. And the operating results, the income was $116,478. The expenses were $128,000, meaning a loss for the year in 2024 of $11,802. So our loss per month, if you averaged it all out, now some months were in the black, some months were in the red. So it was just up and down, up and down. And sometimes that's because of when things go out and when things come in, like you pay a tithe towards the end of the month and maybe it doesn't clear until the beginning of the next month, and it looks like we've tithed twice in that month. So that's hard. So we just averaged it out for the year as being monthly loss of $983.57. We had bank balance there's some over here, wait. now I admit everybody.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, please don't. Please don't.
Yes, read it here, said it.
Oh, my gosh. Anyway, so, we created a budget for 2025 based on this, and we said at the beginning of the year that, we couldn't, make it balance. We couldn't make the budget balance for the year because, to do that, we would have had to make up some stuff about the revenue, make up stuff about the towns that would have clearly been dismissed. So, do you go with a made-up thing, or do you, oh, it's still there. Or do you, just admit, okay, this budget's not balanced? And so we just decided to go with that, that we would see how the first 3 months of the year went, and then see what we would do about balancing that budget at the end of the first 3 months. So this is the end of those 3 months, and which are now in the 4th month. But, you can go to 2025, so what that looks like now, going, after the first 3 months, after the first quarter, income was 19,648. Our expenses 29,000, and so we have a loss for the first 3 months of $9,372.66, and we average it out, and that loss is now a little over $3,000 per month. And we'll see as we go into it, the expenses have remained the same over the last few years. We've gotten them quite low, and they've remained the same throughout. What's changed is revenue. What's changed is, and a large portion of that, of course, is the tithes, but there's also decreased revenue from classes. People aren't signing up and taking classes as much. Decreased revenue from workshops. The workshops aren't drawing as many people as they used to. Concerts are not drawing as many people as they used to. We just had Armand and Angelina, and it was a very small crowd that they totally entertained and loved up, and he loved them up, and it was great, but it was very small. So, things are changing. Things are changing. Their needs, the way people are spending their time and spending their money, it's all changing. And so, what we wanted to do was to come together to talk about this so that you are aware of this 3,000, averaging 3,000. And I don't think, Heather, not much has changed in April. Yeah. A little bit better, but still in the red, but not maybe. So, let's show the kind of comparing the years. Yeah, so prior year comparison, January through March. So you can see the income was 28,000 in 2024 and 19,000 in 2025 at the beginning. The expenses, we had more expenses in 2024, and now our expenses, 30,000, 29,000, basically the same, not much difference. And our loss, 9,000 compared to 1,400. Loss per month, 3,124 versus 493 average. Remember, it was 900 something over the year, but 493 over the first quarter. Bank balance was 45.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but we can't see the slides at home.
Oh. Are you seeing anything? What are you seeing?
We see y'all, which is lovely, but I'd also like to see what you're referring to. Hey, John.
Okay. This is Sandy Ross. Are you on a gallery? Are you only seeing like 4 people, or do you see more?
I see you, I see Betty, and then I see other people at the bottom.
I see all the people in the audience.
Okay, that's good. That's what we want you to be able to see.
Well, I wanna see the screen though.
Okay. We're working on it.
We appreciate it. I know you've done it before, but I know it's not easy, so thank you.
Okay.
Yay, thank you.
Okay. All right. So did you understand everything we were talking about before? Maybe go back to, just to, so they can see it. So 2025, 2024 operating results. That's okay. I just have to talk fast. Really fast. Yeah. Yeah. So here's the 2024 for you guys that didn't see it before. Income 116,000, expenses 128,000, a loss for the year of 11,000, which averages out, $983 per month. Our bank balance at the end of the year was $35,000. Moving into this year, we did a first pass budget, and the income we left the same because we knew, well, we got that last year, so let's start there. Otherwise, we would have been making up, getting bigger numbers than we had for this last year. So we just stayed with last year. The expenses, same as last year, and that same loss. And we were looking at a bank balance. So this was the budget that we could not balance. This is the budget, and we could not balance it. Can you do okay, so here's prior year comparison. 2024, our income was $28,629. This year, January through March, it was $19,600. So expenses were $29,000 this year for the first quarter and $30,000. So about the same. We're keeping the expenses as low as we can. We'll have some talk about what we can do moving forward to bring them down a little bit more. And our loss per month over the first quarter during 2024 was $493, but for us this year it was $3,124. Our bank balance at the end of March last year was $45,000, and the end of March this year was $25,000. So, are you guys good with those numbers now? You saw them? You need to keep seeing them? You good? Let's see, let's go through and see if we can show anything else. Page 3 and 20. Rebecca couldn't be here today, she gives her apologies, so, you can see that in 2018, with the 7-year trend, it's just been trending down, but had a more sharp decline during COVID years. And then we had an uptake in 2022 because of a couple of large gifts that we received during that year. And then it has come down to about the same level in 2021. Expenses from 2021, we were online only, basically, through part of the year. I think in July, we moved into Sophie's, and we had no rent expenses. So the expenses were really down, this big dip for 21 and 22 because we were either online only or we were at Sophie's, where we didn't have to have rent. Then when we came back in 2023, our rent, went up to $400 a weekend on Sunday, and so depending upon, it's like 16 or 2,000, depending upon how many Sundays there are in a month. And so then that raised up in 2023, and it's been basically the same. questions about this? I'm sure there's a lot of questions, but I don't know specifically about these numbers. Anybody online? So here's something, so, fundraising, you look at, it's been about the same. It's the purple color. And in 2023, we had a little bit of a surge. I'm not exactly sure what that was. We did the bazaar, which brought in some money that time. And because we've always done Gourmets for God all along. Gourmets for God, this is another one of those things that, the revenue has changed over the years. I would say when we first, Gourmets, first started, initiated Gourmets for God, that year I think we made not over $11,000. And then there was 10,000, and then it was 9,000, and then, so it's consistently gone and down to this last year, I think it was about 30,000. With fewer events and fewer people participating. A lot. So we had a lot of Gourmets for God, so that probably was part of the fundraising plus the bazaar. There were a few, so we had smaller numbers, and then there was like 3 of them that we canceled because one or two people signed up. So people chose to what was small became. So, I think we can, are you guys okay? Anybody have any questions? Jamila, Michelle, anybody? All good? Okay.
All good.
Great, thank you. So for me, the thing for us to know is that these numbers are not reflective of the good that we do. They don't mean a thing for us as a divine idea in the mind of God. For me, I always keep, there's one part of me that so totally remembers that story about the man who's walking on the beach and he sees some figure down the way that's throwing stuff into the ocean. And as he gets closer, he notices that a young boy, and he's throwing starfish back into the ocean, back into the ocean, back into the ocean. And the man says to him, why are you doing this? You can't save them all. You can't make a change in all of their lives. And the young man throws another starfish into the water and says, it mattered to that. It mattered to that one. And I always think about that when I remember a while ago, a long time ago, before we left Jones Franklin, we had 2 services. And we ran those 2 services for a long time, even though there was just a handful of people that came to that first service, because I knew that those handful of people that came to that first service, that was the only way that they could get the message. That was the only way that they could participate in unity, the only way that they could, really be able to bring these awesome practices and principles into their lives. And so we just kept doing it until finally, the one person, it was funny, we needed a couple of people that finally said, it's fine, we'll make a way to figure out the way it's not. And so the numbers and the bank account and all of that stuff doesn't speak to who we are. It doesn't say how amazing and how wonderful this community is. It doesn't talk about the practices and the teachings of science of mind. For me, I've been here, I've been with this community for 15 years. And my life is totally different, totally changed. And it's because of the teachings, it's because of the principles, it's because of the practices, it's because of each and every single one of you. My life is different, and I am better. Not different in a bad way, but better. And I know that those things are, assisting me, and maybe not every day as well as I would like it to, but assisting me to be able to just kind of deal with the chaos and the changing that's happening in the world today. people in the room or a few people online, that those people speak to somebody else. They're having a conversation with somebody else, and they say something that they heard here, or they heard somebody say to them, that made them feel better. And so they say it to that person, and then that person's raised up, and then they go someplace, and they say it to somebody else. So I know that, as Heather was saying to me the other day, there's just these, concentric circles that just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, like dropping a stone in a pond. That it just emanates out from there, and you just have absolutely no idea who we touch. Right? And I would love, my preference, I would love to have more people do that. I would love that, because I know, and I've heard people say, we give. We don't really have anybody new today, but there's some new people online that teach me to do that. But we get somebody new most every Sunday. And they get loved up by a few people that are here, just loved up. And they know they're accepted, and they know they are welcome. And they feel that, and they love the music, they love the message, and all of that is good. And yet, you don't often see them come back because they wanted to feel it. They wanted to feel more energy in the room, and there's only so much energy that a small group of people, whether we're talking 5 or whether we're talking 12 or 15 in the room, can make, right? And so I would love for there to be more, because I want this to be out there. I know that there are people who need it, and I want it to be out there. But the numbers, on the other hand, the numbers are not sustainable. They're just not sustainable. We can't continue to keep doing what we're doing at a loss of $3,000 a month. There's only so long that $25,000 bank account is going to last. And then do we just buy out? Do we just do it? Or can we put our heads together now and think of a different way, perhaps be in the world, a new, think outside of the box, think of a new way of being for this community to be, a way that really allows every person to participate in the way that they can and want to participate, and yet allows us to not. And then while we're doing that, this doesn't have to be for forever. I believe that if we create something, we could do it for a period of time. We could do it for a period of time. Like, say we were only in the room one time a week. If everybody came, no vacations could be away. I myself need to be away, the grandchildren could be away. There's, all kinds of reasons why you can't work. Everybody seems to have more of a life than I do, but I'm with everything. So I get it. But if everybody, don't try, just do it. If everybody just did it, that every Sunday that they could, we'd have more energy in the room. We had 65 people come to the homecoming. So if people could come, and then we had new people, they'd be like, woo, I'm coming back. When's that one Sunday you're here? Because I'm coming back. This was all the time. So, the possibilities are limitless, right? How can we create a new look? How can we create a new container for this awesome community to live within that allows us to stay in And so I guess those are the questions, and what we can do is to throw around some options. Throw around some options today, and then we were thinking that because not everybody's here and not everybody's at home watching in this moment, that maybe we could send out a survey to people that are even beyond this, to just get some final numbers, and then to choose something that we can look at that's not good. Because still can look at expenses. So, one thing, and you know, I know there's 12 hands raised, because you're not gonna want this, but if happened, is that I'm going to not take a salary, I'm only going to take my housing allowance. So I'll take my housing allowance, and that will, matter between $800 and $900 a month. So that will take care of a third of it, right? Just by doing that. I'm fine, everybody, I'm fine. If I needed it, I could pick up more hours at Duke. To complete transparency, I receive my Social Security, and so I'm fine. I'm fine, I'm abundant. But that's one thing that has to happen. Because if we go to 1 time in the room and 3 times online, that will matter about the same amount. Actually a little bit more, about $1,200, right? So instead of $1,600 costing us, it'll cost us $400, $1,200 less expenses. We still will have to pay any guest speaker, or we still have to pay musicians. Musicians will be online as they are when we are online. Otherwise, they'll be online. We'll try to figure out some way. Maybe we'll have 2 musicians be here on the day that we're in the room to make it be more lively and really energetic. And then they'll be online with us on the other 3 days of the week. Now that's an idea. We could go 2 and 2, but it's not as beneficial financially to us. But it's an option. We could go 2 and 2. We've also thought about, if we're only in the room 1 time, if we only gather together as a community that 1 time, then you've probably seen the announcement, and it sold out immediately, is the Basement Series that Karen Daly has generously given her basement to a class that will be held for 8 weeks in her basement, and I will facilitate it, and all of the money will come to the center. So it'll be a fundraiser. Now, I'm willing. What if we did that like someplace in this neck of the woods, and then we do someplace that Marianne offered her home out, past Duke. Is it Chapel Hill? Is it? There you go. And Durham. Yeah, so beautiful, beautiful setting. And so then maybe we could do, 2 a week. And if it was the same class where it's not like overloading me to the max by having 2 different classes, we could do that. And then people will be together in small groups, and they'll be experiencing each other. And then to come on Sundays and be with the larger group. We still have our home groups. Many of them are still meeting, some are not. Maybe we could lean into them a little bit more and get them to begin to meet again, or to add some new people to the groups so that we can be a part and share and be with each other, because that's what community is really all about, right? So maybe those kinds of things we can do on the side, continue with our Wednesdays. Maybe more people if they're not, in the room, because we do it on Zoom, so there's an opportunity to speak with each other. People share things that they get in the meditation or whatever, and then we have an opportunity to speak with each other on Wednesdays. So that's another way. We can do, we have another fundraiser that will probably be announced next week, a bowling thing that Eileen Proctor is bringing forward. So we'll have that, and we can do that with each other and for the community. We have, Vinny's making a face. Okay, you guys, we talked about this bowling, and Vinny says he needs a paramedic and bumpers. So there's all kinds of things that we can do in that regard. We can continue to, we found a less expensive place to hold some things at Rebecca's condo complex, so it's like $100 where we were having it at mine, and this is $50, so we could do more movie nights, we could do more game nights, we could do all of those kinds of things. Carrie, yeah. So these are just some thoughts and something that I wanted to talk about. You know, in a perfect world, for me, my preference is we're in the room. I love to be in the room. I would rather speak to people in the room than to speak to my cat, who typically hides and doesn't want to have anything to do with me while I'm doing that. So it's kind of boring. But you know, I'm here. I'm here for this community, and I am willing to do whatever it is that we decide that we're going to do to really be able to sustain the community. Comments? Yes. Here, wait. Do we need this to go online? Okay, go ahead. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. No, thank you. Yeah, no, thank you. That is important. Oh, the, yeah, yes, right, to do the lunch bunch, yeah. Right. Yeah. Okay, Reverend Betty, Reverend Betty.
Uh, let Casey go ahead. Mine's sort of slid away because I was listening to
Okay,
the
Casey?
person.
Okay.
Michael?
Uh, Donna?
Yeah, great, thank you. Oh, Casey, were you before me? Are you sure? Oh, this is great conversation. I'm just going to share my experience. First of all, Dusty, you are a true minister and a true person who is about being of service. And I just love you so much, and you know that. Um, so I've been going to Spiritual Center for since 2003.
Just said it in there.
Starting in Chicago, as you know. And this has been so. What I want to say first is when you did your talk today and you shared what causes happiness, and one of the things was community and being surrounded by a group of friends. So many research studies about that. The happier the people are, those who are in a community. And I really love this community. I love the communities I've been involved in with Science Mind or any spiritual center. I think since the pandemic, I think people just don't want to leave their house. That's my opinion. I'm getting this across the board, not just in the spiritual center, but in a lot of things that I'm involved in. They just don't want to leave the home anymore because they got used to being able to do this on Zoom or YouTube. Staying in their home and where they're comfortable, not having to drive, and the weather. I think that, for me, I think that's the main thing because I'm just seeing that everywhere. I personally love ritual. I think, you know, I think being immersed in that helps me to stay in spiritual practice, which is really important to me because when I'm not able to come to a spiritual center or like the other days of the week, I try to practice that ritual, meditation, prayer. It sustains me. Um, so I love all the ideas you have. I got really excited when you mentioned doing other kinds of things, like meeting once a month, but doing other kinds of things where we come together. Because I think the coming together is key. But I also think the ritual is really important. So if we did once a month, but still did the Zoom, and yeah, I live over an hour, away, and I was on my way there today, but the roads were really slippery and flooded, and I turned around, but I knew I wanted to be here online, and I got to hear most of your service. So I don't know. I'm really glad to hear that like the majority of people, like nobody wants us to go away. A lot of spiritual centers have closed. The one in Chicago closed. There's a different one there um, now, but I think this is happening across the globe where churches are having a hard time financially. They just are. And again, my personal opinion is it's because the pandemic just really kind of changed everyone's like attitude about yeah leaving their house. um, anyways, I'm rambling at this point, so I'm going to be quiet. But I'm
Thank
really
you,
glad
Donna.
for the
Thank you.
conversation.
Thank you. Ka- Ka- uh, mhm. Yeah. Mhm. I hear you. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. Hang just a moment. Casey, Casey, you changed your mind, Casey? Oh, he never wanted to talk. Got it. Got it. Okay. Betty, are you?
I'm ready.
Betty's ready. Let's give it to Betty here. We'll come back, Casey. We're going to give it to Betty.
I wish I could hear what people in the audience are saying because I have no idea what Vinny said or what whoever
Okay.
that is.
We're going to have to use the
Sarah
mic.
said and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Um, so let me
Huh?
see if I can
No,
put
we'll
this
use the
together
mic.
in a way that makes sense.
Oh, it's not working.
In any way, I've been going to church since I was 4 years old. I'm 84. I
that Dusty does a lovely talk. But there's not much else there that gives me, that feeds my soul. And I have to say that we're doing our best to continue contributing the way I signed up for. But honey, I could go to several really nice talks for what I put into this. And I have to tell you, I don't know that it's doing me that much good. I feel like for what, I mean, you look at the people that are there now. All of you are people that have been there many times before, mostly, except that woman in the middle, I don't know her. But anyway, we are here. And I just don't know what we're about. I don't know what we are trying to do. I mean, we are coming. I came for a long time. I'm using my age as a reason for not coming that much anymore, because it's just frankly not worth it. And I look at you all, and not all of you are here every week either. So it's, it's not just me. It's not just me. I think about what I contribute to the center in dollars. And I think about what that could do in some other place where it was turned directly into help for somebody. I mean, none of us here are here to save our souls. I don't know that any of us here, maybe some of you are here because this is your mission in life, is to be useful and to be helpful and to be supportive. And I love you, Dusty. I want you to know I do. And I admire what you've done. But the fact of the matter is, what I'm getting out of it is not exactly worth what I'm putting into it. I hate to be saying this because I've been sitting here listening, and while I can't hear what's happening over there, the ones that have been speaking directly into the thing, everybody is following the line. We're here. God is here. Jesus is here. We're going to be, all of that. I'm sorry to take the other side and to essentially be saying, while I love all of you, what we're doing on Sundays is not worth it to me. And if everybody here is finding it truly worth it and wants to be here every Sunday and contribute and make it self-supporting and all that, I think that's wonderful. I think that's wonderful, and I hope you do. But I'm 84 years old, and I'm just tired of it. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I go back and forth on a daily basis. Do I do this? Do I do that? Do I support, to continue to support it? Do I support it more? Do I support it less? I don't know. But what I'm getting out of it, again, while I love you all, is not worth it. And if for each of you it is, God bless you, and I hope you make a good choice. But I just don't know.
Thank you. Thank you, Betty. Thank you for your authenticity and your honesty. I appreciate it.
I wish I could be honest about something else.
Yes, absolutely. I very much appreciate that, Betty. Thank you. You've been here and been a part of this center for, well, longer than any of us, basically, longer than any of us. You helped hold it together.
Except her right there.
Diane, maybe.
What's her name?
Babs and
remember.
Diane, yeah. Yes, right. So there's a couple people in the room that have been here for a long time, but you were here for a long time, and you've, you know, played so many different supportive roles here as you know, as a congregant, as a practitioner, and later as a minister. I'm grateful to you and for all of your consciousness and everything that you did over the years. So thank you for your honesty. I appreciate it. Sean has his hand up. Yeah, maybe come up by this.
Yeah,
'cause-
come up, because I can't hear a word people are saying. Or I can't hear it well.
We don't know if that's working, but if you just speak by here,
Okay.
this will pick
Well, I
it
guess
up.
the mic isn't working. Well, what I would like to say, and I'm going to try to hold it together here. This community, to me, is worth it. And the reason I say that, not going against anything that was said, to me, it is worth it. This community has made a difference in my family. I had a son that was a hoodlum. The first thing that happened here at this center, my son stole money from Reverend Denise's purse. I said, you need to prosecute him. She said, no, I'm not going to do it. I said, you need to prosecute him. No, she wouldn't do it. Well, my son's in the military now. He's got a very good life. I'm very proud of him. He remembers when Reverend Denise said, not gonna do it. To me, community is us. We are the community. If we want to be here during the summer, we know that it's about finances, guys. We know that, and love, but it's gonna take finances to keep the center going. We may have to make some sacrifices during the summer. Do it. That's what you do at home. And I'm not trying to get in your pockets. I'm willing to sacrifice some of the things that I was going to do over the summer for the money to come here. I'll be all right next year. We'll be recovered by then. To me, this place is worth it. It's about us. If we want to be here, we got to act like it. People are saying come, and this is just my opinion, come one Sunday a month. Why? What am I going to do those other 3 Sundays? What's going to happen then, I'm going to start going to another service because I do come pretty often. Well, if there's nowhere to come to, well, I'm going to go to another service. What if I start liking it? Can't understand why I would, but what if I start liking that Sunday? And 2, you have to remember this. When you don't come to service, it's easy not to pay your tithes. It's easy not to pay your money. Well, so come to service. Or have it set up because this is your home. Have it set up so that an amount comes here every Sunday that you don't have to do anything about. Technology. Just have it set up. I have a certain amount that comes out. Not a whole lot, but something comes out. Something's going to come here every 2 weeks because I get paid every 2 weeks. Something is going to come here every 2 weeks that's not going to hurt me. Doesn't have anything to do with what I'm actually going to give the center. I just might forget to give because I'm not there that Sunday. I went on a cruise. I love a cruise. It's all about us. If we want to make this to work, if we want to make this work, we've got to make this work. It's just like Reverend Dusty said this morning in a talk. Somebody said that during the pandemic, and I don't know who it was, so don't think I'm throwing stones at you. I don't remember who it was. That during the pandemic, it was easy to stay home. Well, what Reverend Dusty said this morning was, and I'll sit down, what Reverend Dusty said this morning is we've got to relearn. Relearn. That was the pandemic. The pandemic is gone. Get past it. Get over it. Before the pandemic, you was coming here. Well, We're here again. Pandemic's gone. Come into the building. You're not going to get COVID. That's all I got to say.
Carol, yeah, just so that, you're probably close enough, but.
One of the things that I feel is, you know, I sort of got it, I started along this path through LifeSpring rather than through spirituality. And in LifeSpring, we had this whole philosophy, if it's to be, it's up to me. And what I'm feeling is like there's so too few of us who are acting in, if it's to be, it's up to me. You know, and so I think, you know, I think this is really important for people to realize we're in danger. This community is in danger. And we need some new people to step up and do something because, you know, like I look at who did the Gourmets for God? Mostly the practitioners. Most of those Gourmets for God were done by Dusty or Heather or one of the practitioners.
Well, there was a number of other people.
There were, but the majority were, you know, not, like that's what was in 2023, I think, when we had so many. There were all sorts of people who were not the same core group who were doing Gourmets for God. You know, and who's on the committees? It's the same people. You know, who brings this food? It's me and Dusty and Diane and Heather. You know, and who does the Wednesday nights? The same people, you know? Which is why again, was that in 2023, 24? No, 2023, where we did the Wednesday nights with more people from the community. That was, you know, that was such an exciting year for me for the Wednesday night services because we were hearing from, you know, what Vinny says, we were hearing from new people and different, you know. I get tired of hearing myself speak, you know, I'm like, oh man, people must be tired of me because I'm, you know, sometimes I'm just on a lot. And so, you know, I guess mostly what I'm saying is I think, like you know, something I love is about this whole, like the basement series where Karen does a lot for us, but you know, she hasn't done educational stuff. So for her to sort of step out of my music role and, okay, I'm going to do this, you know, and I think really we need to encourage everyone to say, okay, what are you going to do so that we don't have to shut our doors? You know, and if the feedback we get is like, well, shut your doors, well, that might be the reality. It would break my heart. But, and I'm like Sean, you know, I need people. And if I don't have these people, I'm gonna go somewhere else to find people, you know? So, it's mostly just, that's all I can say is that, you know, I just think we need more, if it's to be, it's up to me, commitment among people. And like I said, I'm not, you know, desperate or, you know, but I think people just don't realize, because if they're not in the room, they don't realize that there's, you know, we started off today with just really one person who wasn't like in the service and doing roles and having responsibilities. More people came, so that was great. But I just think, you know, I think it's great to have these kind of discussions so that we have like a wake-up call that if this matters, we need to do something about it. And it can't be just the same few of us who've been trying to keep all the balls in the air, and they're not all staying in the air, you know, they're financial balls at least. So. I think Eileen raised her hand.
I'm not saying shut doors. I'm just saying change things, right? Again, you can't solve the problem. We've been down this road. We've had these discussions. And I know for me, again, you know, I love you all and I love being here, but it's not enough to bring you here each week. It's just not. So, but if we did something different, like you said, the basement series sold out, what if we stopped paying here for the summer and do basement things? Like, I'd be willing to donate my house, right? And just do small groups, you know, and just think out of the box, right? What can we do? Save some money, even if you charge for those, you're charging for the basement series, right? But do more of that, so you still have community, you still have spiritual growth, but it's different. And rather than just trying to, you know, again, you know, everyone will start coming and paying tithe or doing whatever, and then it'll drizzle off, right? Because it's the same thing every week. I just think we have to think out of the box. And I don't know what that is, but.
All right. So we have 8 months left. If the trend continues, this is our last town hall meeting. I think we need an exit plan. I think we're stuck in a paradigm that says the center needs to look the way it's always been. And it doesn't. We need an exit plan so that we can reimagine ourselves in terms of what we're gonna look like in the future and how it's gonna be. And until we get to the point and be honest with ourselves and say, this is it, we cannot rediscover our truth and our values and how we want to go forward. We're still hanging on to the old way. We're still trying to be something that we're not. We're a smaller group. We are who we are. And that's going to be the bottom line for us. We're going to go away whether we want to or not. What we say today doesn't matter. The numbers are there. We're almost there. We've got 8 months, and there's a new way to do it. The one tangible thing that I've actually heard today, I disagree with, and that's Dusty saying she's not going to be take a salary anymore. So we're saying we have a spiritual center that cannot support the spiritual leader. That's not a spiritual center to me. So we're kind of preaching to the choir. And if we go down that path with that one tangible difference, I'm going to lose interest. I'm going to support the spiritual leader. I want Dusty to be a leader for us going forward. So I'm going to start to drift away if that's the direction that we go. So I don't favor it. It's time that we look ourselves in the mirror and we understand where we want to go. And we're going to have to face the facts and see how we reimagine ourselves going forward, because we're not going to have another one of these meetings.
Anybody else?
Do I have to pick this up? Okay, to add, I'll say amen to what you just said, because I was thinking the same thing. And this whole thing brings me back to Andy's talk 2 weeks ago. Are we surviving, or are we gonna thrive? And I've been asking myself this even before I knew all the financial things, is, you know, for a spiritual community who believes they can manifest anything, and we're just surviving, so maybe each of us need to reassess our spiritual and what we're bringing to the center. That's part of it. Honestly, when I come in, we come almost every Sunday unless we're not home or anything. And we pitch in afterwards, and there's many people who do that. But honestly, when I come in and I leave, I don't feel much different. I may have learned something from the talk, but I don't feel much different. I think and I love the musicians, so this is nothing against them, but I feel like at least at the end of the service, they need to pick us up and really get us going, and then I leave the door feeling much better than when I came in, because that's why I came, to get spiritually fed. And it's not just the talk, it's the music, it's the fellowship. And, you know, we need to let go and let God. Kind of what Ed's saying, we need to let go and let God. It doesn't have to be the way we know it. So how are we going to do it differently? Let God show us how we're going to do it differently, and that's what I believe. So, and I agree with once a month. If you said we're going to do once a month to maybe August, and we'll see how that goes, I'd probably do that. If we're saying once a month and we don't know, then I'd probably say, well, maybe I need to look for another center, because I do want to be around people, and I do want to have that love, and I do want to have that conversations. If you do go on once a month, I think like a potluck, so people can hang out and talk and want to, you know, and then we have something to invite people other than that. But as a spiritual community, I think we should be thriving, not just surviving.
You can sit there and talk if it's too hard for them to stand up, but you just have to talk loud enough that they can hear you.
So, community, it becomes family. And there's been multiple people who through chronic conditions and they change their life. So support during that time, okay, I'm making my way. Is any of this saved online? If I say anything about money, is it anything saved online? So, these people have been here for me during this time. I think Betty bought me a water collection device. Diane and John said a GoFundMe, and I still live in that truck to this day. And now it's a tiny home, and it's beautiful. But it is a 25-foot establishment. I make very little. I might make $1,000 a year, a month. So I make 12 or less a year. Things changed after that chronic reversal. I lost land I had in Pittsburgh and different things. So, but I walk in health, and I've had a wonderful experience. And so this is my family. It's been a much more grieving process than I'm sure people talk about when I moved from Raleigh, because I had my office right by on Water's Edge. Joan Sauce was saying Water's Edge. And what was the last thing I just said?
About your office.
And then what was before, and then it's gone.
You said it was, you were grieving.
Oh, yes, yes. Here, this is 4 or 5 years, thank you. 4 or 5 years, missing my home family. And other interpersonal relationships not working out because I was still grieving it. Making my way down 87 into Graham. So, you know, and then I don't want to forget any of this because I didn't do a little 4-bullet thing, transitioning into another thought. A lot of churches and things work out where their grounds are also growing food. I've volunteered to grow food at an organic farm in Pittsburgh, which was 90% of my food. So my time, I learning, and then I was eating. This also reversed aspects of chronic disease. The emotional part and the sustainable and the spiritual was this side. And so there is a church, a black church in Carrboro, Chapel Hill, at the intersection of Franklin Street and Rosemary. It's too far from y'all, Sean, but they are not holding service, and it's a single level brick. The lady that hired me in my first job at 13, she's in that church. And we talked about it briefly a couple months ago. It's a building that we could use. There's no internet, but that would be anyway, that's too far away. I also have a small inheritance from my grandmother that I don't have my hands on, but prices tripled at COVID, so I can't buy the land and I come with my own home. So there's just another type of structure that could be built there that could, then it could be an AC1, whatever, non-taxed AC. And then I could also have a greenhouse grow in the hoop, because I can get registered as an NC Agri farm, which can only be a half acre. Am I talking crazy? Because I'm just trying to put it out that a church and growing food, that's exciting. And then I'll be in my place, so anybody can use the building there.
And I think that's, I mean, I think it's a wonderful down the road idea.
Yeah, down the
Something
road.
we could go into, but it's not
Oh.
for right now.
And then Graham, so that's what I'm actually willing to do what I just said, but everything did triple, and I can't seem to find it where it is to make that happen. And the Graham Center, we were speaking that maybe there's 4 older people there, 4, 6 maybe. It's been very small, even when, what's her name was there, who went back to Holland after her 30-year career. But that reverend has never, Jane takes her check, and because I would do the filing, and it would go under if she wasn't paying her, it was either 12 or 15 a month. And I think the other CSL somewhere else owns that house, so they own the house and the property, but CSL from somewhere, Chicago somewhere, pays for her salary, and she would turn that check around, put it right in the church. So that's how we got the AC replaced, and that's how I did all my maintenance there at no cost. So that's the only reason that church is still up, is because they just, she has, and this has been for years, maybe 5 years now. So,
Thank you.
but it would be too hard to use there.
Anybody?
Okay, so I am new, I haven't been coming very long, but what I don't see is outreach. I mean, I was actively looking, that's how I found you, not because of your outreach that I can see. I mean, y'all have been coming for a long time. Where are the new people? How are we bringing?
What does outreach look like for you? What would that be?
Volunteer work in the community to make people, aware of our name, and we can also put out, what we're about. But I mean, I would be willing to explore that. And it's just, how do we get our name out? How do you bring in new people? Besides me, who's the next person? I mean, now I've only been coming a few months. So.
Just so you know, we did start that early. We even had booths at a couple of places.
We still go to Gay Pride, out Raleigh. We do that.
But you have a booth and.
Yeah, we have a booth and we do that. We've done that for many, many years. We had an outreach committee that Susan and Diane.
3 or 4 people helping.
And it's that same 20%.
We need the commitment, that is what you're saying.
Yes, that same 20, because we were doing that, yes, absolutely. And we love doing that. I mean, we went every year on Earth Day, and we went over and cleaned up casa and did all that, from trimming trees and doing all that stuff. We did all that.
She just didn't see how super cool it was.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Well, Jones Franklin too.
Yeah, I believe the people on the screen are probably missing this conversation.
Oh. Can you guys hear that conversation?
No.
Well, did you hear what Janice said about outreach?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were just talking about that we used to do a lot of outreach. And, from booths at the Gay Pride or Raleigh. In fact, we're waiting to hear from Raleigh whether we got a table or didn't get a table for this year. Last year, we didn't get a table, and I don't know why we didn't, but so we went to some other kind of Gay Pride event, and we did that. But we used to do a lot of outreach, from cleaning up places to meals to, we do backpack buddies, we do all that kind of stuff. But, it just kind of started looking like everything else. The same 20% of the people were doing all of it, and everybody was just getting burnt out. So that's kind of why you're not seeing as much of it now. And we don't do any, print ads, because we did some studies, we, talked to hundreds of people, why did you come here? And one person out of everybody we surveyed said that they got it from a print ad. And we were spending $400 to $500 a month to do print ads, and so we stopped doing that. We do have meetup, and. Oh, yeah, we always have meetup. We've had meetup for years. And we do the constant contact letter. The constant contact newsletter goes out to 800 and some people.
Is it called Triangle CSL Meetup?
What is the name of it? I get stuff from them when people come on and say that they were looking at it and they signed up for it. And so we get, sometimes people will come, how did you hear about us? Well, I signed up on Meetup. Awesome. Anything? Anybody else? Yes.
Thank you all for being here. I think that Vinnie's ideas were exactly up my street or up my alley, but that's because I'm an extrovert. And I also thrive on being around people. And I think that I just want to punch Ed in the face. But that's just how because of what you said, because I don't want this to go away. But I don't really mean it in the way of violence. I mean it in the way of, that's not what I want to hear. But I would like to see, and I don't know, the ways to bring together the ideas that were shared today. Eileen's, so sorry.
It's okay.
Idea I thought was fantastic. A way for us to get together even if we're not having to pay rent. And Sean's idea of how important community is. So, having kind of reviewed all these ideas, what I don't know as a member of the core council for these many years, how to bring these things into a steam train of action from the 20 people who have supported this center with their action and their deeds over these last few years since COVID. And so I would love to hear some ideas about how to do that, because I don't know what those actions would be. And I think that that's the next step towards moving things forward. I have heard everybody say, that the idea of once a month is not what they want, or most people have said that. And so we have this option of maybe meeting in other people's homes instead of, so maybe we could do that on Sunday. Once here, once there, or something. But ideas about how to bring these ideas into the new TCSL that we're all talking about. That's the part that I'm unclear about. And so that's what I feel like our next step is.
I do have one suggestion that you're going to throw something at me. I'll tell you when it started to diminish in people coming down. The moment we made it available online. I think we should return it all.
God, that would be the worst. That would be a big
I think because you should only give them one choice. You want to come to a spiritual center, you got to attend the spiritual center. Instead of having, because then we have an extra excuse. It's like, oh, I don't feel like going. Just let me turn it on. I'll watch. And the attendance and, who said it first? I believe you said it, but you said it, Sean. If you're not here, either is the tithe. When you're here, you feel more obligated to tithe. And so to me, I think we should start by going there. I know we're saying the rest online, but again, we're giving everybody another way to be with us. in person.
And there's a
So-
lot of avenues for online spiritual. I mean, we can all watch YouTubes, right? And we can watch past YouTubes, right? There's a lot of opportunity for people to get spiritual growth. But what we want is spiritual growth and community together, right? So, again, and even if it's I believe, even if it's a short term, so we can save some money, regroup, maybe that is just meeting somewhere else or whatever, but I think it has to be in person. I think online has killed it. I do agree.
Did you guys hear that? The comment was that, yeah, all the people in line, yeah, right?
I heard it.
That he is suggesting that, we only have in the room and turn off the online, that people having that as an option are not showing up in the room. And,
Yeah, thank you.
yeah, I mean, that's been brought, it has been brought up before, but then the thought was always,
May I make
well,
a comment?
hang on just a moment. Yes, Sandy, just 1 second. That it was always about, well, we can reach other people by turning it on, like they hear about it, they check out, they see, okay, oh, here's a website, let me check this out first before I go there. You don't know how many people, I'll tell you how many people say, oh, I've been trying to get here for the last year, but I watch you online almost every week, and now I'm here in person. I hear that a lot. So I don't know. I'm not disagreeing with you because.
I know, I understand that, but where are they now, number one?
I know, but
Right?
so then do you look at, if what we say is true, then you look at your life to see what's so, then what's so is this community is not being supported. It's not being supported. It's not being supported financially. It's not being supported volunteers. There are this small amount of us that come every single week. Every single week. And it's, and you have skin in the game. You come to, outside things. You do all of that stuff. Every Wednesday, people do that. They have skin in the game, and the question is, am I not being fed because I'm not totally in? I don't know. And I hear what you're saying about doing something different. I'm up for doing something different, but I'm also up for doing something different in a way that does not offend. I mean, I want, offend is not the right word. I want everyone to feel like they can be here. I want everyone to have, whatever ideas, whatever political ideas, wherever they stand on whatever issues are there. We can't just have people come in and on a Sunday say, this is what you need to do, when that's not what everyone in the room wants to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
Is that-
spiritual growth is the same for everybody. It should be, right? We're talking about a truth.
Yes.
And so all we need to do is to be able to hear the truth that's going to rev up and turbocharge us for what we have to get through that week. When you're watching fires burning down in LA, and we're coming in here and totally forgetting about that and talking about something else, that's what I'm saying is that. No, I mean, in the moment, in other words, it wasn't necessarily addressed. You did address a couple of things a couple of times. I remember when we were over at Sophie's, there was definitely things that went on there that was addressed. I'm just saying that the spiritual food is to get more protein.
Yeah, I know. Sandy.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I do not have a suggestion, but I do agree. Well, there are two issues, which of course we've been addressing, and that is attendance and money. Well, you're not taking a salary, I guess we'll call it that. You're not taking, Reverend Dusty, you're not taking a salary, does not solve the attendance problem. And so we're basically doing the same thing over and over again. It's just less expenses, but we're not
I don't know how to solve the attendance problem. Now, typically, when I come every other Sunday, there's 15 to maybe 20 people there, but we're the other 50 that came for the homecoming. It's the 50 that was some slightly new but most of the people had been here before, I think. Where are those 50 people that didn't come back? Where are they? I don't understand it. And the reason I come is because of Reverend Dusty. I want to hear what you have to say. But I've been thinking for over a couple of years that maybe I would find another. Actually, I go to Ron's church, my boyfriend's church, every other Sunday. And I have joined that, but I don't get the message. It's a Baptist church. I don't get the message that Reverend Dusty provides. So I come because of Reverend Dusty, but I've been thinking for over 2 years, it's just, I want to feel something else. I don't have a grand suggestion. I don't have any suggestion, actually, but I know we can't keep doing the same thing. Meeting at someone's home, that solves some of the financial problem, but that doesn't grow the population.
Thank you,
Sorry.
Sandy. Thank you very much. Appreciate your being here and your comments.
I know we're not making a decision today, but being a disability advocate my whole life, there are people who watch this, who can't make it here. Now, I'm not saying we have to do it live, so there'll be more, but you could always record it and then post it later so those who can't get here physically could have access to it at a later time.
Yes, that we can do. That we can do. To record it and not show it live, so that people would be in the room, so they can see it before it comes.
Well, I think some of the things like, meeting at people's houses instead of, it's not necessarily just saving money. It would be a different experience, and especially if, we had a Durham house that was doing it, and we had a Holly Springs house that was doing it, and we had a Raleigh house that was doing it, I think, when you're saying what should we do, so what I would say is that, we figure out, set up an experimental amount of time where we do something other than this, And, like one of the things, I was on the, what was that? What was our committee? The Sunday Service Committee. And, we made a bunch of suggestions, and we made some changes for a while, but a lot of the changes that we made, then, we went back to doing them again. And I think it's kind of, well, like, we tried getting rid of the bowls. We got rid of the bowls, and then we tried gongs, but now we're back to the bowls. And I don't know exactly what all, but we had talked about, we made a change of Sean doing the announcements, and that was a great change. And we made a change of a different ritual, but we had talked about cutting out some of the introductory stuff in the beginnings, and we talked about having more music at the end, but we tried that. We tried the community song sing-along, and people hated it. So what I'm thinking is, we set up some experimental period where, we have this in a hotel, or have this here like we do one Sunday. Maybe one Sunday we do some kind of outdoor meditation, a nature meditation, or walk a labyrinth, or, doing different kinds of things. And maybe one Sunday a month we do, trying to coordinate several different in-home places, kind of like home groups, except on a Sunday instead of, and I don't know, but I think we have to kind of, it's hard, it's, like really change the paradigm and just say, like I say, we say, well, we're doing this for this much time, and we want to see what revs people up. Which way do you like it, Do you like it like this, or would you rather be outside and do a nature meditation, And that's kind of what we need. I don't know. And instead of asking people for ideas of what we should do, I think we need to organize some different types of things and then see who shows up,
Is there a Betty's that has a conference center or something? Betty, I don't know either, but that would be neat to.
Well, I mean, if we are not going to live stream it, and we're just recording it, then that could open up some other possibilities of places, because we don't need to stream it if we don't stream it. That could be different, but, okay.
Well, I'm going to sit down if that's okay, because I'm.
Yes, please. So, you come here. Okay. Okay, yeah, we're past the 1:30 time slot that we said, so.
I just had a thought, and we're talking about we need to expand attendance and all that, and I'm just going to be honest. If it was me and I didn't know you all, I would not come to your home. I'm not going to go to some stranger's home just for spiritual that I have never met anybody. I'm going to be walking into there. I would come to the hotel. I would come to a building and that, but I would not go to someone's home. If I didn't know you, I would not come to your home. I wouldn't look and say, oh, they're having it at some person's house. I'm just going to go, because I don't know what I'm walking into. So I'm just saying, if we have it at people's homes, I would come now because I know you all. But if I had never been here, I wouldn't come.
That doesn't solve the problem of attendance.
Right, expanding, but expanding.
Right. There's a lot, there's 800 names on that constant contact, right?
Well, but some have
moved away, whatever.
moved away or only attended one time or whatever.
I mean, I love that she said, if you have a Holly Springs house, you have a Durham house, whatever, and maybe that's one Sunday, right? And then the second Sunday, do something else, right? Still have some opportunity for spiritual growth. And yes, maybe strangers won't come to my house, but my neighbor might come,
Right.
right? And say, hey, I'm having a group from my spiritual center come over. Do you want to hear it? Because she can't get to, Morrisville every week or whatever. So we might expand it just within our own circles. I mean, I can think of 3 people I would invite to my home that would not come here, probably.
And it could be people's businesses, rather than, and people may feel differently about going to an office, than a home. Or, like they say, a community meeting center like Betty's or like Rebecca's or, so home doesn't necessarily just mean a house.
The interesting thing is when you look at any of the old-time spiritual leaders, they never had one place. They always went around to different places, and they still gathered the crowd. The crowd followed where they went. So it must feel like, yes, let's find out some places what they cost just for a community center for one Sunday, or a school auditorium. And I'm just using that as an example, that one Sunday we're here. But one of the major problems that we have is because we are recording it and we are streaming it, is all the equipment that has to go with it. That's
Well, but the one Sunday could still be here.
right.
The one Sunday, and then we do something really different with it, get more music, less of the up the front stuff, and we just do something completely different and see how that goes. See if people are fed that way. The thing is though, if we choose to do this one Sunday, people have to be committed. You have to be committed to try. To be there. No, there is no try. You have to be committed to be there. And be committed to be there, we say, for June, July, August, maybe September. For those 4 months, let's try this new thing and see see how it goes. But I do know people who said, if you go to one Sunday a month, I'm going someplace else. People have
Right,
said that
that's
to me.
it, yeah.
People
We
have
had a
said
hard
that.
enough time, honestly. We had our group was meeting, our home group, with only 8 people, was meeting every week. And then after a while, they were saying, oh, it's too hard to meet every week. Can we meet every 2 weeks? And then from every 2 weeks to 1 month, and then from 1 month to nothing. And it's the exact same reason, is because if it seems like it's a, and I truly believe, I don't necessarily know if we were getting anything out of our group that kept drawing people there, because some of the same issues were occurring with the people over and over and over again, and they weren't getting anything, and then there was outside things that they were going to. Again, it's all about that spiritual food that I'm feeling, is just like, but they started out, the novelty was going every single week, because this was new, and we were excited about it, you know? So, yeah, I mean, for financial reasons, we should do the once-a-month thing just to maintain that. But, that, I don't think that that's gonna draw more people in.
Nope.
I kind of feel it just maybe maintain some that you have,
Yeah.
rather than getting some new ones in.
Other than it could be, you know, when we know there's more people here, like if new people would have come to the homecoming, they would have felt that energy, they would have felt that community,
Right.
and that experience would have been different.
And
That
maybe,
is- yeah, I'm sorry.
oh, sorry, I was saying maybe the once, if we do once a month, and we're still doing opportunities for other growth each week, right? I'm not saying only once a month spiritual growth, but we're only here once a month, maybe that's where we have a potluck, or that's, you know,
Yeah.
Right.
right? So there's reason to draw people here, right? And then there's other reasons, wherever we meet somewhere else.
Yes, so in this conversation, we're not talking about doing the Sunday online. We're not talking about doing online the other 3 Sundays. We're talking about one Sunday and then creating some other experiences for people.
That's what I
Way
would
outside.
like.
For a certain period of time?
Yeah, just for the summer, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, so then, I guess then we need to know, and then, so what is talked about during these things? Is a similar conversation happening in Apex, that's happening in Raleigh, that's happening in Cary, that's happening, or whoever hosts it just does whatever they want to do, and maybe they don't feel really comfortable, like, I'll host it, but then, you know, Dusty, you've gotta come here, well, what if I hear that from 3 people? I can't be in 3 places on a Sunday. You know,
Why couldn't it be the same theme, and then we all talk, like, similar to the home group, but we'll
Similar
follow
to the
the
home
same,
group.
we'll follow the same
Yeah,
theme
yeah,
each
yeah.
group.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's like the home group. They do have these spiritual living circle things that they do with CSL, but, you know, people have to get the magazine to actually participate in it. So, you know, we don't know if people are gonna be doing that. But we can look at the theme, the monthly theme, and have some conversations around that. And
I think we have to also set expectations that even if they're going to another location other than here, then Tri-Date has to help them too. Right? So, because that'll help us build the bank account a little bit.
right.
Yeah, and I think that's a part of keeping as a community is we might meet separate places, but we should be talking about the same thing. Otherwise, we're evolving off in different directions. So we can, you know, decentralize the places without decentralizing the message.
What else? John?
Oh, yeah, I just
Very
was gonna, well, I'm gonna be gone for most of the summer, but I like the idea that you guys were just talking about, and I know for me, like, if that continues when I get back, it's been really hard for me to let go of the Friday night Sangha, because it's just too hard for me at nighttime to drive, you know, because I have to drive quite a bit. I think it's hosted, anyways, it was like an hour and a half each way. But I would be more inclined to do a Sunday like that, if there was like a smaller group Sunday. So that's just me.
Right.
But again, I don't even know if I should say anything because I won't be here this summer. But yeah.
Fine. Thank you. Thank you. it was kind of a personal thing, it was, yeah. Hey, Michelle, do you have anything that you and Joe would like to say?
Well, we listened and are taking everything in that everyone had to say. And we're not really sure what to add. You know, we want to support the center and be there for you, Dusty. And if you're going to send out that survey, we'll participate and just try to figure out where to go from there.
Okay. All right, so, what did you say, what, Vinnie?
I don't like surveys. You get so many different opinions and stuff, and we did that, and we did 3/4 said this, three went there, but where is the 3/4 that we wound up, you know, going along with? They're not even here. So
They always make sense.
I know. So I do think that this decision has to be the court council's decision,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think a survey will do it, because you're sending a survey out to people who aren't here. I mean, and I'm not here
And
every
they
week,
haven't
so,
heard it, yeah.
right? And I have opinions, and I'm only here occasionally. But anyway, I do think it's a court council decision, all right? And it's a temporary decision to save some money, try something different. And if we do it, Dusty, like, let's say you say it's, you have 5 groups, and but you visit a group each, like you rotate
Every
your
other
groups.
week, yeah.
Right, I mean, however many groups.
can do that.
But maybe the email goes out, who's willing to do this versus a survey, right? If that's what the court council decides. I do
Sure,
think
well,
it's
we
a
meet
court-
tomorrow night, so
Yeah.
we can talk about it then.
Yeah.
And, come up with.
Being creative,
Yeah.
being creative with it, just gotta be another way to excite people. And when you did the homecoming, it was beautiful. I left there feeling good. And you know why? Because the music didn't put me to sleep. And I'm sorry, we need to be straightforward and out. We want to build, right? But sometimes I want to sleep during the music,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I mean, so the thing is this, is that, you know, during that one Sunday, we could have 2 or 3 or 4,
Yes.
because if we're not doing it online, then they don't play any other time of the, so we could have them
That's
online.
right.
And we could have it be more music later,
Definitely.
and we could have, you know, none of the other jazz, just small amount of message.
I think it's more, the upbeat of the music versus the,
Yeah.
you know, you say you have 2 or 3 bands, but they're playing the same thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we need to up our music.
You don't like a funeral or anything.
Oh,
As I said before, when I come in and I leave feeling the same, like, you know, if I have music,
Yeah.
give me
I
pumping.
said, yeah, the excitement. You
I
got it.
love our musicians, so I hope none of them doesn't take me that wrong, but we need to raise our vibration.
Jamila, did you have something? You're now, here.
No, I just wanted you to know, I was been here the whole time.
Yeah, I know that you were.
On camera, you don't see
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
I mean, like Michelle said, I've been taking it all in. Some things I agree with, some things I don't, but I'm trying to see all the perspectives. I really love this community. Even though I don't come in person, I mean, there's no childcare anymore. It's logistically, it's a little more difficult for me. Right now I have a health issue, so it's hard for me to sit, which is why I'm late right now. But even if I'm not there, I'm definitely supporting. I mean, I tithe, the texting to tithe has been great. I mean, I've been doing that for years. And so, yeah, but I know whatever's happening is not enough. So I'm listening and being open, you know, I want to participate as much as I can. So I just look forward to the survey and see what happens next.
Well, we may not do a survey,
Oh, okay.
because other than we could do a survey to just these people that are here, you know?
Dusty?
Yeah, Sandy,
Reverend?
yeah.
No, this is Brenda.
Oh, Brenda, hi.
Yes, hi. I've heard a lot of the comments and so forth that the members have made, and I don't really have a suggestion except one thing that one of my organizations did is that we each looked at the members, visitors, and so forth, and we each personally called 4 or 5 people who had been a member of my organization or who had visited or who had shown an interest. And people who came to homecoming and the other people who have come over the years, that what we did is we divided that list up among our members, because our membership had gone down to about 14 regular people at our monthly meetings. And now we have 83 ladies in my group. And so we each took 4 or 5 names that we knew or didn't know and had a personal conversation with them and shared that with the body. And so over the last 6 years, our membership has gone from like 9 or 10 or 11 back to over, we have 83 members now. So I don't know whether that was and we've had like 7 people that have reactivated, and that was a special ceremony for all of us. And so that's one thing that I know we did in my organization, and that's my only sharing of information that I have. I can't think of anything to do other. I've heard a lot of comments, and I agree with many of the members, but for you not to take a salary is something I'm totally against. It's not going to increase the membership.
Well, now we have to know, I'm doing one Sunday a month. I think I could go down a little bit.
You have no ideas or suggestions for increasing the membership or visitation or programs. I'm sorry, I can't think of anything else, anything to do to financially and or physically have more attendees to the service.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I'm thinking, the online service is crucial. That's just the way of the world now for the last 15 or 20 years, is to be online with the service and the programs. Other churches I used to belong to in Maryland and Washington, D.C., they went online, they sold the tapes of the services, and it was a thriving business, a part of the church to broadcast what was being said and what was
Were they doing that were they doing that live, or you said they sold the tapes? Did they just like, because we can tape it, we can record it, and we can put it on our YouTube channel, and then people can see it later. But by not doing it live, then it would encourage people to come and be in the room, is the suggestion that was made. But we would record it and put it up on our YouTube channel.
They recorded every single Sunday service,
Yes,
and
yes.
those tapes were available to be purchased.
Yeah, so we would still do that on that one Sunday. Please.
My father used to say there are 6 things that a church has to do. And we do 5 of those things eminently well. But there's the 6th thing that we don't do that well. And one of those is personal outreach, especially during church, where we communicate with each other and we connect with each other and we form a bond with each other. And I've been to churches where they almost always call out, does anybody have any needs? Does anybody have any people they want us to be thinking of? And we used to do that in the early days here at TCSL, where we would talk about some people who were in need. We would talk about what was going on in their lives. And in a way, we would become connected to those people in their lives. And of course, we would say a prayer for them or whatever it is. We don't do that anymore. And you feel connected to some of the people who have approached you and communicated with you, but there are other people that have, you're the new guy, right? I'm Russell. Because I didn't come up and say I'm John. So I don't mind being Russell, but if that's what you need me to be. But I feel that attendance has probably fallen away because while we are fed, we are not connected. And it's that connection that brings you back over and over and over again. It's being nurtured, it's breaking bread together, And these are the things I feel that we have been missing lately.
Yeah, we did, I remember if a member did not show up 1 week, there'd be a call made to that person to see if they were okay.
That's happening.
To say, okay. And I feel that you,
Yeah, not, I wouldn't say 1 week, people have things that take them away 1 week. But if I don't notice them there for a little while, I reach out to them and have conversations with them. And a lot of times I'm just told, well, you know, we were just out of town, we're busy.
yeah.
Well, maybe some of us other members should do that.
And Dusty, I feel
I
that,
do that.
Yeah,
I do that.
Carol does it all the time.
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
And that's part of what I'm saying about, if it's to be, it's up to me. You know, we can't have some magical powers from Dusty to do everything. So, you know.
well, Dusty, I feel that part of your satisfaction as being who you are and what you do is connecting with others. And I feel that the sermon is something that's great. I think that was something that you do because you want to be in the position where you connect with others. And I want to see you connecting with others, because when you connect with us, when we have a crisis in our life and you're there, it removes the crisis part of it. It becomes just a part of life. And we love having you in our lives in that way. And you have been a part of our lives in all of our crises. You've always been there for us. We're connected with you in ways. we got it going on, baby. We got it going on, and you're helping us, and we love you for that. All right. And I will not come if you don't take a salary.
No, I'm taking a salary.
I'm just saying.
I am taking a salary.
Dusty,
I'm just saying.
you're not our spiritual leader once a month. You're a spiritual leader 7 days a week.
Yes.
And you know what, if you really look at it, the city took our building. And that, a lot of difficulty after that.
Oh, yeah.
And then COVID said, bam!
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's it. Shall I say something? Because I know.
Yeah, please, we gotta go. Yeah.
And then, remember when Denise was saying that, when you on the block, what you do? See, you knew better than to do that.
I am all about the music. I'm sorry, I am missing the music. And yes, people didn't like that one chant that we were singing, but music, for me, carries spirit. And I feel like I miss that. And I think we had some of it during the homecoming. It was really a lot of energy in the music. So I have talked to a lot of people who say, oh, you know, I go to such and such a church. I don't care about the message, but boy, I love the music. They go for the music. And
I think young people do too.
who's saying yep, yep, yep?
This
So-
is Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy, right? The music lifts me at spirit, and I'm not getting that here.
I go to every other Sunday. It's
You
the
go for
music.
the music. And,
There are 1,000 people at that church.
oh my gosh,
At least they
yeah.
have to resurface.
And I miss that. Now, I thought Sandy gave a wonderful performance today. It was incredible. It was off the charts. But it's a performance. It's not a community event. And that's the thing that I'm missing in the music. I love Sandy. I think he's fantastic. But it's a community music that I miss. And I am tempted to go to my local Chatham Community Church because they have great music. And
We used to have individual singers each Sunday, come new singers, and they would contribute. It would be the music.
you know, that's just me. I know that Carol doesn't, people are wired differently, but I am wired for the music.
I think that's part of what we're talking about, is people have to be committed, like, you know, so if we're gonna do chanting is not something I love. But if we're gonna do it once a month, I'll come once a month, even if I don't love it, to be open to, because when we're doing what I love, I expect other people to show up, even if it's not their crazy thing.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, I think we need to try different things and see which ones attract people and which ones don't.
Or just try different things, right? So not the same thing.
Anyway, that's all I have to say about that.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, so very much for all of you guys online. Thank you very much for your patience and for sticking in there to the bitter end. I really appreciate it wholeheartedly. Thank you all very much for all of your sharing and your listening.
Did we muddy the water, or did we make it clear?
There you go. See, like, I don't yes to the survey, some people said no to the survey, don't do it, but, I mean, we could send the survey to these people that are here.
Yeah, if you send a survey to people who aren't here, then.
Yeah, how are they gonna know what they
Our survey should be going to their house, giving them all a hug, and finding out.
There you go.
All right, when shall I sign you up for doing that, John? What day?
What day is
Thank you,
John?
guys.
To give a hug.
I love you.
There we go.